7,000 people a week from being killed. I think that's a pretty. I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I
with a friend, he is meeting with an adversary, and an adversary who wants to see the destruction of the United States and the Western Alliance. But if he could bring about the end to this terrible war, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
What's up, good people? I hope everyone has had a great week, and hope your Friday and your weekend goes well for you. I just want to talk to you guys about the 2 video clips that I showed prior to me coming on. And I want to start with the second of the 2. And this is the one that involves Hillary. And there's nothing wrong with a Democrat or a so-called Democrat supporting a Republican and vice versa. So it's not about her being a Democrat and supporting a Republican. It's more so about her just overall saying that she would nominate this president for a Nobel Peace Prize after all of the issues that he has caused, whether it was in his first term as president and or now, because we are all feeling the pressure of prices increasing. There really is no stability whatsoever for many of us. A lot of government workers have been laid off and lost their jobs, and God knows what else they've lost in the process. And we all know, and I hate to keep bringing it up, about what happened when he lost that last election. So for her to have the nerve to say that she would nominate him for any type of award is wrong, regardless of what she thinks he would be able, he would possibly be accomplishing, because he can't end the war between Russia and Ukraine. He is just a pawn in the whole scheme of things. He's just a face. He's just a distraction that Putin is using, in which she is blind and a lot of others are blind and seem to not be able to see what actually is taking place right now. And I say that he has nothing to do with ending the war because he's been talking big even before he got into that presidency, and he still hasn't done anything about it. And he keeps threatening with sanctions to Russia and all these other things, and we see that none of that has happened. He stated, well, if this war doesn't end, and if they don't do this and don't do that, he's going to put sanctions on Russia, and none of that has happened, y'all. And why? Because he's afraid of Putin. He actually looks at Putin as if he's his role model, believe it or not. And we all know that when people look up to somebody, there's a certain level of respect that they give that person. And there's certain boundaries that they will not cross. And that is Trump when it comes to Putin. And like I said, Trump can't end the war. The only person that can end this war is Putin in Russia. He can only end this war. Ukraine can't even end this war. As much as they would love for this war to end, they can't even do it. It's up to Putin, because Putin is the one with all the power. The military is bigger. It's a bigger country. And he's the one that's continuously bombing Ukraine, even after they're supposed to have a ceasefire and all these other things. And we see that he's willing and is going to violate whatever is put into place because he feels like he has the power to do so. And so for her to say that Trump ending the war, she's wrong on that end. And another thing as well, when was the last time other than that have we heard from her and or from her husband in reference to all of the things that are going on in this country? I don't even know if they spoke out about the uprising that occurred when he lost the last presidency. And if anybody has any sense, they know why. Because if not her name, most definitely her husband's name is in that Epstein file as well. He was just as much a part of what was going on that island as any of the other people that's on that list were involved. And so she knows not to say anything too far out of the way because they know the dirt that this president of this country has on them and vice versa, because he has skeletons in his closet that are being hid from the public right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Obama and many others may be on that list as well. But I know for a fact that Clinton and Trump are both on that list. And because Clinton is on that list, they're choosing their words carefully when it comes down to speaking out or against anything that this current president has done or is doing right now. And so they're all in bed together, so to speak. They're all a part of the taking over and bringing down of this country, no matter what color tie or suit that they wear. And like I say, it just goes to show us that they will sit here and holler Democrat and Republican to pit the people or pit the public against one another. And when it all boils down to it, they're sitting together at the round table, eating and conversating and laughing and talking and giggling about what they're going to do next and how they're going to continue to fool the public, making us think that that they're Democrat and they're Republican and you can't vote for one or the other. You see what I'm saying? But they literally are causing a rift between the people in society, but yet they're all in this together is my whole point. And it's obvious when you have her endorsing him or nominating him or possibly nominating him for a Nobel Peace Prize and for something that he truly cannot do. Once again, that's up to Putin if he wants to end the war. And we see right now, after they had this so-called meeting, that Putin is still continuing to bomb Ukraine. He even stepped it up more, and he's bombing Ukraine still. But yet he sat there and both of them sat there and praised one another and all this other stuff. And, oh, it was such a good meeting according to the president of this country. But in reality, they really didn't reach any type of deal, we know for a fact. And they didn't come to a real conclusion about what they're going to do in reference to this war that's occurring. And so we can't be fooled, y'all. And in reference to that first clip, well, still on this second clip, she also stated, and it was kind of cut off when I first started recording that, she stated that they're not friends, that they're adversaries. Which once again is as if people don't listen when other people are speaking. How many times, even just recently with the last meeting, has Trump considered the president of Russia his friend? Oh, we're good friends. Oh, this is my friend, or I'm his friend, yada, yada, yada. He has said that almost, I don't know how many times, y'all, but on several occasions, he has sat there and proclaimed that these two guys that they that they have a friendship with one another. And she sat there and said that he is not a friend, he is an adversary. And he's an adversary to this country and to the West, just trying to, you know how they do, trying to talk up something and just telling us lies and trying to convince us with these fancy phrases that what they're saying we should believe. And I'm not falling for the nonsense, and neither should you guys fall for the nonsense and the lies, because that's all this is. They sit there and just lie. And like I said, they want us to be fighting against one another, and they're sitting there drinking wine and eating cheese together. We got to shake off the cobwebs in our heads, y'all, and start thinking for ourselves again. And in reference to that first video clip that I put on there, and I've said it, that when you get to a certain point in society, in most cases, you have to lose your soul. And this president literally sat here and admitted that basically he's pretty much sold his soul and ain't no coming back from where he's at right now. He sat there and told us this, y'all. He said it himself that he's at the bottom of the totem pole, meaning that he's literally in hell right now, according to him. And it's only going to get worse for him. But yet, people believe him when he tells them or has told them that he's a Christian and that he believes in Jesus and he believes in God. Well, yeah, even the devil believed in Jesus because the devil tried to tempt Jesus. So, yeah, you can sit there and say that you believe in Jesus, but do you truly follow Jesus is my question. And by following Jesus is when you start to produce the good fruit and your chances of getting into heaven become greater, because you can believe all you want to. And that's where people are lost, that they think that just because you believe means that you're going to be able to be forgiven and go to heaven. No, you also have to show the actions and do the things that he asked us to do, in which the president of this country realizes that he has not done those things. And he admitted, this man is 70 plus years old. And he admitted to the fact that there's a high possibility that he's not going to be able to get into heaven. And to be that old and to admit that means that, you know, you've literally sold your soul, and eternal damnation is where you're headed. And so we got to stop believing these people when they sit here and holler about being Christian and how I do and this, that, and the third. Because once again, they use these tactics in order to convince the feeble-minded people to hang on to their words and to follow after them. Because all you have to do is, in a lot of cases, just say, yeah, I'm Christian, and people will run behind you and believe you. But your fruits, your actions are proven and showing differently. And that's what we have to judge and base people off of, not their words, or not just their words, but their actions as well. And his actions have proved differently as far as him really believing or really being a follower of Christ, of Jesus. And we've heard it. Grab him by this. He's used profanities all the time. He's always talking negatively about somebody, calling somebody out of their name. And that's not a sign, or those are not the signs of a person that is truly a follower of Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're going to have your faults. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but he's proven time and time again that he's not even close to being a follower of Jesus and really believing that he's a Christian, because he's a false prophet. He's literally got people bowing to him in the White House. And it's signs of that Antichrist spirit that lives in that White House and that you have to have in order to have that position. And there's so much more that I could speak about and say, y'all, but I just wanted to post this little bit and say that much because we have to stop being deceived by anyone, but most definitely by people who are in power and who have power over our everyday lives. Like I said, and I'll say it again, the power lies with us, but the true power is in Jesus. But we have more power than the politicians do. And then you have the lower level politicians that are sitting here fighting tooth and nail for us. And the ones that are bigger than them are sitting there laughing at them, whether you're Democrat or Republican, and they're laughing at them saying, look at these idiots. They sitting down here fussing and fighting, and it's not going to amount to anything. You had that one Democrat that was speaking for hours on end. What did he accomplish? Nothing. Nothing at all changed, y'all. But hey, y'all take it easy out there, and I'll talk to you soon.